everyone, my name is Kevin Moses. Today I'll be talking about one of the biggest cybersecurity threats we face. It's ransomware. So by the end of this session, you'll understand what ransomware is, how it spreads, how it affects people and the companies, and finally I'll show you a short and safe live demonstration of how a ransomware actually looks. So, to start with a brief introduction to ransomware. A ransomware is a type of cyber attack that's growing faster than ever, because every 10 seconds somewhere in the world a new system gets infected. What started as random hackers attacking home computers has now turned into an organized business called ransomware as a service. Let's think of it like Netflix for hackers, right? So people can subscribe to ready-made ransomware tools and launch attacks without being tech experts. How easy is that? So let's define what ransomware is, right? So a ransomware is a malicious software, a malware that locks your files or your entire computer and demands a payment to unlock them. So the payment is usually asked in Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency, because that's really hard to trace, isn't it? And until you pay, your files, which might contain your photos, your projects or business documents or data, it remains encrypted or locked. So it's an evolving cyber attack, right? So let's see how a ransomware works. So here's a basic workflow of a ransomware attack. You get a phishing email. So what is a phishing email? It's an email that looks legit. Let's say, and you see that email from your company or from your banks or anywhere else, but that email is sent from your attacker, right? But you think it's legit, and you click on the link or any of the attachment in your email, and once you do that, that installs the malware inside your system. So it spreads in the background. But what does it do? It actually starts locking in all your files one by one. Finally, after everything is done, you see a ransom note on your screen asking for payment, usually with a countdown timer to scare you. It's very rare to see a countdown timer, but as I said, to scare you, sometimes you might see that. So let's see the different types of ransomware. So the first one is the crypto ransomware, where it encrypts your files, but it keeps the system up and running. The second one is the locker ransomware. The locker ransomware usually locks your screen completely, and you can't access anything until you pay. The third one is a double extortion, where it not only encrypts files, but also it steals your data, and it threatens to leak it online if you don't pay. Right? That's basically like a double ransomware attack. Right? So let's look into the two important and the most dangerous real-world attacks that has happened. So in the year 2017, the WannaCry, a ransomware attack, spread across 150 countries, hitting hospitals, universities and businesses. And it even shut down the parts of the UK's NHS, the National Health Service. The following year, in 2021, the Colonial Pipeline in the US was attacked. It's an oil industry, and it stopped the fuel supply to half the East Coast for days. And in this, even the schools and the hospitals was targeted because attackers knew they couldn't afford long downtimes. Right? So I'll talk about the impacts, which will, make you understand why, these kind of attacks are, dangerous, and how it really suppresses the business, the functionalities in an organization. So the impacts. So these are the 4 common impacts that an organization could face. Companies can lose lots of money. The productivity and the reputation is gone. So when a downtime takes place, it can cost millions per hour, especially for hospitals, airports or financial institutions. And even if the ransom is paid, recovery can take weeks, and the trust with the customers is often lost forever. Right? And also, let's think it this way. What if you pay the ransom and you don't get back your files? That's the worst thing any organization could go through, right? And quickly, let's see how ransomware spreads. So as I said, it's usually through phishing emails. And then once you click on any of the links or any of the attachments inside your email, the malware just spreads completely into your system. It starts locking up all your files, and you see that everything, all the files, will be with a dot locked extension or dot encrypted extension. So these 2 extensions will be shown in the demonstration that I'll be doing very soon. So it can also, okay, I have told you the ransomware that spreads through emails. So there's also another possibility which can spread through infected USB drives or pirated softwares or unpatched systems, right? Once it gets into one device, it can move across the entire company networks. So that is the reason a company's network is the backbone of everything in an organization, and that's the importance of networks. So we have talked about everything. Now let's talk about the detection and response and the mitigation strategies, right? So ransomware doesn't always show itself immediately, but there are signs. So your files may start changing names, your system slows down, or a strange note suddenly appears on the screen. If that happens, don't panic, don't pay, and don't try to restart your system. Instead, the first thing you got to do is disconnect from the internet and call your IT or security team. Right? So we have tools such as EDR or anti-malware scans and network monitoring. So when it comes to tools like these, they're usually used for monitoring your files across your system. to see if there are any unusual files other than the actual files. So everything will be demonstrated in my the simulation demo that I'm going to do in a bit. So the prevention and protection. So what are the prevention and protections that we can follow? So the good news is ransomware can be prevented. How? Always keep backups offline or in the cloud. Regularly update your operating system and antivirus. Avoid clicking unknown links or downloading attachments from strangers. And the most important thing is use strong passwords, and please enable multi-factor authentication for extra protection. And more than everything, please think before you click on a link, right? So what are the future prospects of ransomware? So since ransomware is an evolving attack, just like the technology, attackers are now using AI to find new victims and to customize ransom messages that look more convincing. We're also seeing the rise of ransomware as a service, where anyone can buy ransomware kits online. This makes it easier for more people to launch attacks and harder for us to stop them. So let's conclude the part of explaining ransomware. So ransomware is not just a technical issue, right? It's the people issue, the people in the businesses, the people in the society. It's us, the people's issue. It often starts with a simple mistake, clicking a wrong link or plugging in an unknown USB, but the solution is also very simple: awareness, backups, and regular updates. The best protection is prevention, not paying the ransom. So now that we understand what ransomware is, let's see how it behaves, right? I'm going to run a short safe simulation of a ransomware attack. Don't worry at all, it won't harm anything. I'll show you what happens when someone plugs in a fake USB, opens a suspicious file, and triggers a ransomware infection. This will help you visualize how fast and silently it spreads across the system. Yes, so this is a safe educational simulation, no actual malware, just a demonstration of the process and the impact. So let's start. So as you can see on the screen, we have three different tabs on the terminal. One is one is for monitoring, one as an attacker, and one as a user. So since this is a simulation, I will be an attacker and a user at the same time, right? So imagine an attacker drops a USB stick labeled company payroll data near an office parking lot. A curious employee picks it up and plugs it into their computer. Inside there is a file named invoicemalicious.txt, right? Let's simulate that USB here. So as I said, since this is simulation, I need to first, as an attacker, I need to create something to start the simulation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a directory with two main files, that's ransomware USB demo and USB drop. So ransomware USB demo is going to be the user's file. The USB drop is nothing but the USB stick. So when I click enter, the files have been created. So now the usual way the users see if the files are there is through this. So yes, I do have two files, the ransomware USB demo and the USB drop. And inside the file we have doc1.txt and doc2.txt. And inside the USB drop, as I said, this is the invoice malicious.txt. So once we open this is the file that's going to infect the whole system, right? So let's see how that happens. So before that, coming to the monitoring, I talked about something called the EDR in the earlier slides. That's nothing but the endpoint detection system. That's basically used for monitoring your files, across your computer system. So to do that, I have this statement which basically, continuously scans this particular file that we have, the user's file. And how does it look? Looks like this. So since we are just scanning this, the user's file, so there are only two documents present in the file. So that's doc1, doc2, doc1 and doc2. So that's happening every second, right? So the next thing what I would do is, as an user, so the attacker part is done. So now it's the user. So what the user will actually do is he wants to copy that file, thinking that he might get to see his payroll, and he might copy that onto his system. So I'm going to use the statement copy USB drop and so on. So what this does is it just basically copies the invoice.malicious.txt file into the user's folder, that's the random USB demo. So when I enter, it says user copied invoice. Let's see if that's happened. Yes, that did. So we have the invoice malicious.txt. That's good. So what happens now is after this, we'll safely now simulate the ransomware activity. Instead of encrypting files, this script simply creates harmless encoded copies of and it drops a fake ransom note. So let me show you that. Yes, it's this. So what this did is it locked every single files in the folder, in the user's folder, with a file called readme ransom.txt. So let's actually see what the ransom note gives out. So let's just list out the files and let's click on that. So these are the files present in the user's folder, and it says the malicious message is, it says please pay so that I can give you your files back, right? But with the knowledge of cybersecurity, we can easily recover the the files back. But to do that, we have the command. This is the command where, and the recovery is complete. So once we do that, we'll see we have all the files. It's recovered, right? Let's check this on the EDR. Let's do, yes, we do have files recovered back. So basically, let me just open one of the doc1 file. So this was the original text, the data inside the doc1 file, and when it was locked, basically it is encrypted. It was encrypted, and this is the encrypted message, and this is back to the original recovered data that the user just lost. So what we learn from this is very crucial, right? So the ransomware just often starts with something small, a USB, an email, a single click. Always verify unknown media, restrict USB access, and keep backups. Prevention and awareness are the best defense. That's how fast ransomware can spread, from one small mistake to complete system lock. So the good news, awareness is very powerful, at least in this. Always think twice before you click, verify before you open, and never underestimate a simple security habit. So with this, thank you for listening. I hope you all stay safe and cyber aware. Thank you.